Live from Denver, this is Fox 31 News at 4. We're on it.
The city of Aurora making moves when it comes to the homeless. The new details on what is now being allowed.
Denver releases new data on marijuana money. The problem solvers following the cash to find out where it's going.
President Biden doing his part to end the COVID-19 pandemic, getting his booster shot.
I know it doesn't look like it, but I am over 65. I wish I way over. And that's why I'm getting my booster shot today.
This afternoon, we're sitting down live with Denver Health to get answers to your booster questions. We have a lot to get to here on the Fox 31 News at 4, and we start with new details about a shooting in Littleton last week that sent a police officer to the hospital. Thanks so much for joining us at 4. I'm Matt Mauro.
And I'm Deborah Takahara. New court papers released just today reveal that Littleton police were able to identify this suspect, this man, 33-year-old Rigoberto Valles Dominguez, by looking at surveillance video from a nearby 7-Eleven. It was last Monday when officers responded to a drive-by shooting at Bannock and Powers. Officers spotted the suspect vehicle. 2 people got out and ran away. They chased one suspect into an apartment building. That's when multiple shots were fired, hitting Officer David Snook more than 3 times. While officers jumped in to help Snook, that's when police say Dominguez got away using another exit. Dominguez was arrested on Friday night in Brighton after a standoff with police officers. They say they got a tip that he was in a home there. Officer Snook is expected to recover since he was wearing body armor at the time of the shooting.
Right now, Denver police are looking for the driver who hit and killed a man, then took off. The crash happened this morning right here near 3rd and Broadway. Officers say the victim was not in a crosswalk. Police are now looking for what could be an older model white Dodge Ram pickup truck with some headlight damage. If you know anything about the crash, you're asked to contact our partners at Metro Denver Crime Stoppers. That number is 720-913-STOP. A civil lawsuit against the Aurora police chief and the city manager has now been dismissed. Jason Rosenblatt sued the city last year just days after he lost his job for his part in a photo texting scandal. City officials fired him, saying he acted inappropriately when he received a photo text message that appeared to mock Elijah McClain's death. Rosenblatt's legal complaint alleged the city did not handle the discipline properly or fairly. The city also fired 2 other officers for the photo text message and a 4th quit. Rosenblatt is currently facing manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide charges for his alleged involvement in a 2019 altercation with McClain prior to his death.
Developing in the last 2 hours, R&B singer R. Kelly has been found guilty of racketeering in his sex trafficking trial. Prosecutors say Kelly exploited his stardom for more than a quarter of a century to lure women and underage children into his circle and then would subject them to violent physical and sexual abuse. The defense says his accusers are liars looking for a payday. In all, Kelly could face decades in prison. He will be sentenced on May 4th.
Right now, the city of Aurora is coming up with a new way to help deal with an increase in the homeless population.
They will use something called pallet homes along with all-weather tents. Our Vicente is on it live now from Aurora. Vicente?
You know, Deb, when you're talking about pallet homes, you're like, what? I've never heard of this before. They're out there, but the whole idea is they want to use these pallet homes to deal with the increase in number of unhoused people that have been showing up here in Aurora. Those numbers getting bigger and bigger ever since the pandemic began.
These additional shelters will help with overflow. They also provide another option for folks experiencing homelessness that may not be as comfortable in congregate shelter where people are all sleeping together.
So these pallet homes will be assembled and disassembled. They'll cost about $8,800 each. The tents, on the other hand, will cost about $700. The city's saying that they still are going to order these. They have been ordered by the finance department. The pandemic, when it first started, they noticed that the number of homeless people here started increasing by about 200, and they said, we've got to do something. So they're going to start setting up these shelters at the Salvation Army headquarters here in Aurora. Right now, the city has these on order. They're waiting for those to come in. They're hoping to have them set up by the time the coldest temperatures come in this winter. Reporting live in Aurora, Vicente Adams, Fox 31.
Vicente, thank you. Let's take a live look outside. Sky Fox up right now, taking a look at the Mile High City this afternoon. A little bit of smoke in the air, just as Jess told us there would be. You know, we're in the last week of September. The heat is sticking around. Temperatures climbing to nearly 90 degrees again today.
And Pinpoint meteorologist Jessica Lebel in the studio this afternoon with us. And just we're talking about near record-breaking heat.
That's right, you guys. So far out at DIA, we've hit about 89 degrees. Now the record high is 92, so it is going to be close. We don't yet have that official high temperature for the day, but it's possible we make it to 90 degrees this afternoon. And on our Bacchus and Schenker sky cam, you can see partly cloudy skies here. Certainly some traffic on I-25, and temperatures still sitting at 89 degrees. Right now we do have wind out of the east at 13 miles per hour, humidity down at 10%. And temperatures up and down the Front Range sitting at 90 in Fort Collins this evening, 90 in Greeley, parts of the high country like Steamboat Springs, making it up to 80 degrees. Those wind speeds are out of the south and east anywhere from about 10 to 15 miles per hour, so it will be a little bit breezy this evening in some spots. And on Doppler radar, I am tracking some scattered shower and storm activity down across our southern mountains. Looking ahead towards tomorrow, temperatures will climb into the upper 70s, low 80s. It's our last warm day before we see a big change here in Denver. We are going to see a big cool down, temperatures in the 60s by Wednesday, and a chance of rain. I'll have more on just how long that cool weather will last in Pinpoint weather.
All right, Jess, we'll see you in a few. Happening today, a federal judge says the man who tried to assassinate President Ronald Reagan 4 decades ago can be released unconditionally if he remains mentally stable. John Hinckley Jr. was 25 when he attacked the president. He was found not guilty by reason of insanity. He is now 66 years old and has been living in Virginia since being released from a Washington hospital 5 years ago. As part of his release, doctors oversee his medication and therapy.
Quit hiding in your homes like cowards and come out and face the music.
Right now, protesters, a few of them there, demanding answers from the parents of Brian Laundrie. It's now been nearly 2 weeks since anyone has apparently seen or heard from him. He's now described as the only person of interest in the death of his girlfriend and fiancee, Gabby Petito. The FBI has taken over the search for Laundrie at a nature preserve south of Tampa in Florida. The operation will be scaled back this week, but investigators believe lower water levels there can help them access areas that were difficult to search last week.
The police aren't sharing everything because they're working off leads. The reason why they're in this park is because that is the last known place he was.
Dog the Bounty Hunter, a.k.a. Dwayne Chapman, has not joined the search, but he did make his way from where he lives here in Colorado to Laundrie's parents' home in Florida this weekend. Chapman describes Laundrie as an outdoorsman who is likely hiding out where he feels comfortable, possibly as far away is the Appalachian Trail.
It is crunch time in Washington, D.C. The federal government facing a crucial deadline to keep the government up and running. A vote on the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill, originally set for today, has been postponed until Thursday. The reason is to give moderate and progressive groups of Congress more time to come together on a $3.5 trillion spending package.
I can't support any reconciliation package that doesn't lower taxes here in my district by reinstating the state and local tax deduction.
It's being held hostage for a separate bill that the majority of the country does not want. It's unacceptable.
Funding for the government is set to run out on Thursday at midnight. Democrats have tied an increase to the debt limit in a bill that funds the government until December. But Senate Republicans have voiced their opposition, saying Democrats should leave the debt ceiling alone.
Right now, there is a nationwide blood shortage, and the Colorado Blood Cancer Institute is taking action to meet the needs of its cancer patients. To do that, the organization is launching a year-long blood drive in connection with Vitalant. Fox 31's Kim Posey is live here in Denver to show us the impact. Kim?
Yeah, the Colorado Blood Cancer Institute here at Presbyterian St. Luke's Medical Center has had to go outside of their normal channels to access blood products. Vitalant says the cancellation of blood drives due to COVID is still severely impacting their blood supply now. Vitalant says the pandemic has forced the cancellation of 133 of their blood drives in our state. And in the past year, 100,000 fewer people have donated blood compared to the previous year. This is a real issue because blood cancer patients need blood products to help them survive. Doctors at the Colorado Blood Cancer Institute say the supply is a real problem.
Yeah, we have. We've had a severe shortage, and we've had to look outside of our normal supply to get the resources that our patients need. So it's very much felt.
CBCI is now launching a year-long blood drive in connection with Vitalant, hoping to raise awareness. Donations can make a big impact in someone else's life. And if you would like to donate, we will have information on our website. Kim Posey, Fox 31.
Thank you, Kim. Your Denver Broncos not just winning big yesterday, but shutting out the Jets 26-0.
It's a great game for a lot of fans over at Empower Field. The team has now won its first 3 games of the season, their best start in 5 years. Our data desk found that with a 3-0 start, the odds of making the playoffs go up to about 70%. This was the first home game of the season, and fans certainly were excited. Now they're looking ahead to next week, but will the Broncos be able to make it 4 in a row? That is a big question. They're back at home against the Baltimore Ravens, a very good team with a great quarterback. Here's what the head coach, Vic Fangio, has to say about that.
That's great. We've maxed out these first 3 games record-wise, and we're all focused on trying to get to 4-0. And really, what's beyond that is inconsequential right now.
Vic Fangio, a man of few words. Kickoff Sunday again, back at home, 2:25. We'll have much more from the Broncos in sports coming up at 5 o'clock.
And some key injuries, sadly.
Unfortunately, again, particularly at wide receiver.
Yeah. Well, a vaccine mandate for healthcare workers across New York is now in effect.
Still ahead here at 4, why healthcare workers say it could turn into a very dangerous situation. Plus, a satellite created right here in Colorado is now orbiting the Earth. What researchers are hoping to learn about coming up.
And later, marijuana revenue is up in Denver. We're taking an in-depth look at just how much money has been spent and the criminal impacts that industry is having.
Your Pinpoint Weather Forecast is sponsored by Old Crow's Antiques. Come find your next treasure at Old Crow's Antiques. Always live, always local. Fox 31 Morning News.
Scary moments. This is new video this afternoon of a 5.8 magnitude earthquake that hit the Greek island of Crete today. At least 1 person has died and several others were hurt. Homes and buildings were destroyed and piles of rubble and debris just cover the streets. Take a look at that. Multiple aftershocks have been reported, causing even more damage.
Back here in Colorado, happening today, Alamosa volunteer search and rescue crews began their mission to bring this man off Blanca Peak. Vaughn Fetzer died on that peak last Saturday, the 18th. The search for him was called off late last week after a search crew member was hurt by a rock that was falling.
President Biden rolled up his sleeve today, getting his booster of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. He says that COVID continues to be the pandemic of the unvaccinated. 77% of Americans have gotten at least 1 shot, while 23% remain unvaccinated. A big test on vaccine mandates taking place today. A statewide vaccine requirement for healthcare workers in New York just went into effect. Unlike previous rules, employees cannot opt out by showing a negative COVID test. So it's either get the shot or get fired.
We're trying to protect kids. We're trying to protect families. We're trying to protect working people.
It's a terrible situation, and it's supposed to be, happening in the name of health, and it's just not going to raise health at all.
Some healthcare workers say the mandate, they'll face potentially dangerous staffing shortages. The governor there says she is considering bringing in help from out of state.
And all right, not the countdown we're used to, but new details tonight aboard this rocket that did successfully launch today is a satellite created by scientists at CU Boulder. The Atlas V rocket launching this afternoon is a joint mission between NASA and the U.S. Geological Society. The satellite from CU is just about the size of a cereal box. Cheerios, I'm told. And for the next 2.5 years, it'll collect data from other solar systems. Researchers say it'll tell us a lot about our own solar system in the process. That, by the way, is a ULA rocket, which had a lot of design work here, and Ball Aerospace designed some of the mapping technology that's on it as well.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
I love all those local ties to that. And you guys, in terms of the forecast, we're all talking about this heat. It is September. We've still been dealing with...
The end of September.
Yes, the end of September, dealing with heat close to 90 degrees. And today is no different than that. We are at 89 degrees right now in Denver. The record for today is 92. Yesterday, we were 1 degree shy of the record. But the good news is we are picking up a little bit of moisture in some spots here on Doppler radar. You can see our southern mountains, some scattered shower and storm activity down towards Salida, Buena Vista, stretching down across the San Luis Valley, and of course our San Juan Mountains also picking up some of this storm activity stretching from Telluride all the way down into Durango. Meanwhile, here in the Mile High City on our Bacchus and Schenker Skycam, we have partly cloudy skies. Temperatures on the warm side right now. It's 89 degrees. We will get that official high temperature right around 5 p.m. So we'll let you know if we ended up making it to 90 degrees. And that wind out of the east at 13 miles per hour right now. It's very dry here on the Front Range. Humidity down at 10%. A lot of that wildfire smoke, the heaviest of it, staying off towards our west here in parts of California into Nevada. We do have light amounts though, and you can see that on some of our live cameras outside. We do have a lot of this across the northern half here of the state, mainly north of that I-70 corridor, light amounts of smoke. Now, luckily, we're not seeing any heavy smoke, and we are going to see actually some improvement as we head into tomorrow. This is our surface smoke forecast early tomorrow morning. A lot of that smoke moving off to the north and west of us. That's good news. That means pretty good air quality to kick off tomorrow. But we are going to see some of that, unfortunately, late Tuesday into Wednesday push back into the area as a cold front starts to swing through Colorado. That is going to push in a lot of that smoke from the west. Right now, temperatures are at 90 degrees up in Fort Collins and Greeley. Hard to think October is just a few days away. 90 in La Junta, 70 in Eagle. It is 82 in Grand Junction. And those low temperatures overnight tonight will be falling to about 54 in Denver. I am pinpointing some 30s and 40s across the higher elevations. Telluride coming in at 43 degrees. Your hourly forecast for tomorrow by noon, temperatures will be in the upper 70s. A gorgeous afternoon to spend time outside, although we are going to pick up the wind a little bit. We are going to see temperatures in the upper 70s, low 80s into the afternoon. So in Northglenn tomorrow on our hourly pinpoint weather app, we are going to wake up to partly cloudy skies that will turn to mostly cloudy by tomorrow afternoon and evening. So not as much sunshine around, I should say. We will see anywhere from about a 10 to 20% chance of a few isolated showers later tomorrow. And those high temperatures across the state will hit the 70s in Lyman, down into Colorado Springs, 82 expected up in Fort Collins, 60s and 70s across the high country, Gunnison tomorrow climbing to 64 degrees. On our futurecast here, let's start with tonight. We are going to continue that scattered shower and storm activity in our southern mountains. Some of that could even bring a dusting of snow to some of the high peaks. Now, by tomorrow morning, we wake up to mostly cloudy skies. You can see a lot of that across the state here. And those storm chances popping up again tomorrow afternoon, mostly up in the higher elevations at first. And then some of that will slide off towards the east as the day rolls on. And you can see a lot of moisture towards the western slope. This will bring some snow by late tomorrow night to some of the high peaks above about 9,000 feet. And we're not talking a lot, 1 to 3 inches over the next few days, but we will see a big storm system that's going to cool us down here in Denver by Wednesday and Thursday. Tomorrow we are going to keep it above average. Our average high is 75, and then you can see that big drop in temperatures. With that is going to come chances for rain for the next 3 days. So this is a big change here. On our 7-day forecast, we are looking at those temperatures dropping to the 60s. Wednesday and Thursday overnight lows will be falling into the 40s, and we are going to dry it out on Friday and just in time for the weekend as those high temperatures heat right back up into the mid 70s.
All right, thanks, Jess. Coming up, Instagram putting a hold on its plans to create an app just for young kids. What the company is working on now before anything gets available.
But first, we're hearing from you wanting to know more about COVID-19 booster shots. Denver Health is in the studio this afternoon answering your questions next.
Your Fox biggest team, the best coverage. Fox 31 Morning News.
Now to the very latest on the coronavirus. As we told you about just a few minutes ago, President Joe Biden rolling up his sleeve today to get the Pfizer COVID-19 booster vaccine. The FDA approving the Pfizer booster for the people you see on the screen, those who are 65 and older, those at risk for severe COVID-19, plus frontline healthcare workers. Here to answer your questions about this, we know there are so many. Dr. Connie Price, Chief Medical Officer at Denver Health. Dr. Price, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Okay, let's start with this. Are these the most important groups that need to get the COVID-19 booster shot in the eyes of doctors right now?
Yeah, those are the groups that are highest risk for severe disease. So that's the group we want to get to first.
Okay, and these people, I imagine, can pretty much go anywhere that they've gotten the shot previously, to a hospital such as Denver Health, to a drugstore, you name it, and they can get the booster?
Sure. In their in clinics, in their primary care clinic offices, many are giving it there. At pharmacies and at the Denver Health clinics, we're still giving them.
Okay, I know one question. My mother called me earlier today and asked, she got the Moderna vaccine. She's almost 80 years old. She's wondering, because that one has not been approved yet by the FDA and the CDC, can she go get, or should she go get the Pfizer vaccine on top of that to get the booster?
So the current vaccine booster recommendation is really just specific to Pfizer. However, if she has a condition that severely weakens her immune system, that recommendation some weeks ago allows for the Moderna or Pfizer vaccine recipients to go ahead and get one within 28 days of their last dose.
Okay, but if you don't have that per se immunocompromised or high-risk group, is it best just to wait then?
Then you just wait, yeah, because it's only approved for Pfizer.
Okay, on that note, any idea or a thought when Moderna or particularly Johnson & Johnson, we had a lot of questions about that, when those booster shots could get approved?
Well, the Moderna vaccine is a couple weeks behind. They're still reviewing the data. They did not submit enough data initially to get the approval. Johnson & Johnson is even further behind, and they just submitted some preliminary data. So we'll have to wait a little bit more.
Okay, when you say a little bit, it sounds like probably at least a month?
Probably some weeks at least for Moderna, and then beyond that for J&J.
Okay, and one last question. A lot of people were wondering, kids, there's some new data going into the CDC and the FDA now about the Pfizer vaccine for those who are 5 to 11 years old. They say maybe weeks, or rather days, not weeks before they submit it. When could we see that potentially getting approved?
Well, hopefully by the end of the year. This is the group we're seeing the most infections in right now, so we want to see that approval soon.
Yeah, you talk about that nationally. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, 26%, 1 in 4 new reports of infections in kids. Is that alarming to you, particularly because a lot of them, the younger ones, those under 11, can't get a vaccine?
Well, yeah, that's why we all who can get a vaccine should, so we can protect the younger kids. But the good news about the younger kids is they're not getting hospitalized at as high of rates as the older age groups. So that's the good news. And hospitalizations in Colorado among the kids have been stable since school started. So we have that going for us. But we want to get them vaccinated as soon as approved.
Okay, there's a lot of good news right there. I think a lot of people were wondering what's going to happen when they go to school. They're around each other.
Yeah.
They may not wear the mask the way they're supposed to all the time. So
yeah, data so far shows that the hospitalization rates are stable. So if we're really concerned about severe disease, then we have done a good job in preventing it.
All right, Dr. Connie Price, Chief Medical Officer at Denver Health. Good to see you as always. Thanks for the advice today. Appreciate it. Deb?
Well, marijuana sales in Denver, they are up. Still ahead here at 4:30. We're digging into just how much is being spent and where that money is going. And some Colorado lawmakers coming together to make sure Buckley Air Force Base is one of the best in the country. New details on what they're asking for next.
A lot to get to here at 40. We start with this, new details on the impact that marijuana sales are having right here in Denver.
Fox 31 problem solver Nicole Fierro dug into the fine print of this 31-page report following the money and the impacts on crime the industry is having here in the Mile High City. She joins us live in the studio. Nicole, a lot to unpack here.
Certainly, and we've got a lot of graphs to break it all down for you. So marijuana revenue, it's up in Denver. This graph here showing just how high it's gone up. It went up 17% from 2018 to 2019. Now it's looking the same for 2021 as well. We're at 70,000 for 2020, looking about the same here. This is from 2014 when it all came about, legalized here for sales. But all this, you know what this means? Interesting ways that it's going to go back into our community, millions of dollars. Whether it's a shirt at a boutique or a gram of bud at a Denver pot shop, sales tax gets put into a big general fund for the city to spread out for different government services. A brand new report shows $34.8 million from 2020 marijuana sales tax money went into that general funds pot.
So in some ways, there even is pot for potholes because it even goes to fix streets. It even goes to libraries and things like that.
Eric Escudero works for the city's excise and licensing department. They're the main regulatory agency for cannabis in Denver. Escudero says aside from the general fund, $10.3 million in marijuana tax revenue went to affordable housing in Denver in 2020. Aside from the money, this report also follows the crime. Denver police reports showing total marijuana offenses account for less than 1%
1% of overall reported offenses in Denver. Breaking down that 1%, police saw a spike in burglaries of marijuana stores in 2020. Data the city's now going to act on.
For the first time ever, Denver is about to finalize some rules for the safe storage of cannabis.
While there's never been storage regulatory rules in Denver, industry leaders tell the problem solvers marijuana retailers already take big steps to try and keep their products in the right hands.
Right now, we have rules very similar to what casino and gaming have to abide by, right? We had to have very comprehensive camera systems, alarm systems on everything. And now the city is going above and beyond.
We want to make it so if they're trying to ram a truck into it, well, there's going to be a barricade or something that's going to block them from doing that. And if they do get access to that dispensary, it's going to be locked up in a safe so they cannot get the product and get it out on the illicit market.
Yeah, so these new storage rules, they'll be finalized this week and go into effect with the start of the new year. If you want to read this full report, there is a lot to it. Head to this story on our website. Reporting live in studio, Nicole Fierro, Fox 31.
Happening today, 3 Colorado lawmakers, Senator Michael Bennet, Senator John Hickenlooper, along with Representative Jason Crow here, are asking for upgrades to Buckley Space Force Base. In a letter to the Secretary of the Air Force, the lawmakers say that the 120th Fighter Squadron is a critical national security asset, but is currently assigned outdated aircraft. They say it's one of the few remaining units that is still flying the aging F-16 Block 30 aircraft. The squadron is a unit of the 140th Wing of the Colorado Air National Guard. Well, taking a look ahead, if you need a job, listen up. Denver International Airport is having a job fair this Wednesday. The airport is looking to fill more than 1,500 jobs. Employers will be accepting applications and resumes. They'll have interviews on the plaza that connects the Westin Hotel to the Jepson Terminal. They'll be there from 10:30 to 1. Veterans are allowed early access at 10 o'clock that morning. If you have more questions about this, we have a link with all the information right now at KDVR.com.
Instagram says it is putting a hold on the development of Instagram Kids, which is geared towards kids under 13. The app has been under fire recently after a Wall Street Journal report found that Facebook was aware the use of Instagram by some teenage girls led to mental health issues and anxiety. The company now plans to take time to work with parents, experts, and policymakers about their concerns. The head of Instagram says it's important for younger kids to have a platform specifically for them featuring age-appropriate content.
Right now, 2 Colorado banks are issuing refunds to borrowers after failing to return gap fees that were improperly collected. Compass Bank, now known as BBVA USA, will give back nearly $1.7 million. Air Academy Federal Credit Union is currently working to determine how much it owes customers. We're told that process could take months. Gap protection is sold to car buyers who finance, and Colorado law requires that lenders automatically refund payments in some circumstances. Right now, there is a spike in deadly counterfeit prescription pills. Coming up, the most up-to-date numbers on the impact it's having right here in Colorado.
Baby loungers now being recalled after several infant deaths. What you need to know to keep your baby safe. And as wasted food piles up in landfills, researchers are finding a new way to take it and create medical supplies. New this afternoon, a look at how that works.
This is how we lead. Fox 31 Morning News, Colorado's biggest morning newscast. All local, all morning. More time, more resources dedicated to bringing you important stories from where you live. Setting the standard for morning news, we're on it. Fox 31 Morning News. Jeremy Hubbard, weekday evenings at 9 p.m. Awarded Best News Anchor by the Colorado Broadcasters Association. Ashley Ryan, weekday mornings on Fox 31 News.
Right now, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency, the DEA, is warning about a spike in lethal counterfeit prescription pills. The DEA says the agency has seized more than 9.5 million of the pills this year alone. That's more than the last 2 years combined.
And the DEA says the pills have methamphetamine or fentanyl and are killing people across the country. Fox 31 digital reporter DJ Summers joining us here with a look at the impact fentanyl is having here in our state.
Drug sellers lace everything from pills to cocaine with fentanyl, and it shows. Check out this graph. This is the monthly percentage of Colorado overdoses involving fentanyl. It took 3 years to crank up 9 times. In July 2018, about 5% of ODs were fentanyl related. July 2021, and almost half of them were. Now, check out the raw totals. The yellow is fentanyl overdoses. The blue is all overdoses. They track exactly the same. Compare the month of May alone. 3 years apart, there were 9 fentanyl overdoses in 2018. There were 74 in May this year. That is an 8-fold increase. I have a closer look at the numbers going back to 2010. Find my report right now on KDVR.com.
All right. Thanks, DJ. Just staggering numbers.
It really is. Now, talk about pinpoint weather. The big question, when will Deb wear gloves on her morning runs again? She did last week. I don't think she did this morning.
When you wear tights, I'll wear gloves.
Exactly.
Wednesday morning. I think it's going to be Wednesday morning.
That is the answer.
Because tomorrow morning's still going to be mild, right?
Yes, we're going to be okay tomorrow morning, but that cold front swinging through Tuesday night into Wednesday, that's when we feel the bitter cold, and we could see some snow up in the high country. But for now, let's just enjoy the sunshine, the warmer weather. I'll have more details on that storm system in Colorado's most accurate forecast.
It's time to take a look ahead this afternoon. Later this week, the city of Arvada will be implementing water use restrictions starting Friday. People there will be asked to follow alternate watering schedules. They're encouraged also to stop watering outdoors when possible. The restrictions are going into place for several reasons, including the Ralston water treatment shutting down for maintenance.
A consumer alert to tell you about right now. Ford is recalling more than 17,000 of its electric Mustang Mach-E SUVs. They were sold between February of 2020 and June of this year. The company says there is a manufacturing defect that could allow the windshield to detach in a crash. Ford says it is not aware of any accidents or injuries related to this problem. Repairs will be made free of charge. Water leaks and increased wind noise are indicators of a possible problem.
All right, parents, listen up. This is extremely important. Right now, more than 3 million boppy loungers are being called back because they are tied to 8 infants dying.
Consumer Reports and Fox 31's Katie Orth has more on the recall, including ways to keep your baby safe while sleeping.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission urging parents to immediately stop using 3 loungers made by Boppy. The Boppy Original Newborn Lounger, the Boppy Preferred Newborn Lounger, and the Pottery Barn Kids Newborn Boppy Lounger. They're all being recalled almost a year after the CPSC issued a warning to not let infants sleep on products like these.
When babies are left unattended or sleeping on these products, they may roll over or their heads may fall in such a way that blocks their airway and can lead to suffocation.
In the recall announcement, Boppy says it is, quote, committed to doing everything possible to safeguard babies, and also said that the lounger was not marketed as an infant sleep product and includes warnings against unsupervised use. Consumer Reports' Rachel Rabkin-Peachman has been reporting on safety concerns around infant products for years. Her investigation, published last October, revealed at least 28 infant deaths from 2012 to 2018 tied to nursing pillows and baby loungers, yet the loungers were still being sold.
Parents deserve to know immediately if their baby might be at risk. Boppy should have acted faster, and the CPSC should hold them accountable.
Orion Shin is a consumer safety specialist at Consumer Reports.
Parents need Congress to strengthen the CPSC's ability to warn the public about hazardous products and take quick, forceful action when people are at risk.
So how can you keep your baby safe? The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends babies be put to bed only in products that meet federal safety requirements for infant sleep, such as a bassinet, crib, or play yard.
Babies should sleep alone in their own space on a firm, flat surface that is free of soft bedding or restraints.
And if you're having a hard time getting your infant to sleep, ask your pediatrician for tips rather than using an unsafe positioning product. Katie Orth, Fox 31.
Now, pinpoint weather, Colorado's most accurate forecast.
I'm meteorologist Jessica Lebel in for Chief Meteorologist Dave Frazier tonight. And on Doppler radar, I am tracking some scattered shower activity across the high country. It is great to see some of this moisture across the state. We still have drought in place. You can see some of these very isolated and small up towards I-70. More of the storm activity centered towards the south in the San Juan Mountains near Alamosa and stretching all the way back out towards Telluride and Durango. Right now, those temperatures are are still pretty hot here on the Front Range. It is 90 degrees in Fort Collins and Greeley, 91 in Fort Morgan and Sterling tonight, 89 right here in Denver, and 69 out in Georgetown. If we take a look back at the month here, this is all the high temperatures that we have seen so far this September, and it's been a warm one. It's safe to say. You can see all of these temperatures here in the pink color where we did reach at or above 90 degrees. Back on the 10th, it was 99 degrees, and we have only seen 5 days this month with temperatures below 80 degrees. That's pretty impressive. Low temperatures tonight dropping to 54 in Denver, 55 in Fort Collins, 55 in Fort Morgan. We will see some 30s in the high country as you wake up tomorrow up in Leadville, Breckenridge, and up through Fraser and Grand Lake. In terms of wildfire smoke, we do have some light amounts out there on the Front Range right now, and mostly across northern Colorado. If you do live north of I-70, that's where more of the smoke is making an impact tonight. And as we head towards tomorrow, we are going to see more of this push in across western Colorado. You can see it move in here, and that's going to come in with our next cold front. That will move in late Tuesday into Wednesday morning. Our patio forecast for tomorrow, this is going to be one last day where we see those warm temperatures before that cold front swings through. 81 expected by 2 p.m. We're going to see mostly cloudy skies, a 10% chance of rain, 80 degrees by about 4 o'clock. The northern Front Range tomorrow hitting 82 in Fort Collins, 79 in Boulder. I am pinpointing 80 in North Glen. High temperatures across the metro reaching about 79 in Arvada, 80 in Inglewood, 81 out towards Central Park, and across our southern Front Range we will be around 77 in Castle Pines, 75 in Deckers and Monument, hitting 73 degrees. Overall on our futurecast, we are going to see a couple of rain showers pop up tomorrow afternoon, first in the high country. Some of those could slide off towards the east as the afternoon and evening goes on, but I want you to notice some of the blues and pinks popping up here on the map. That is some rain transitioning over to snow, especially late Tuesday night. So we are going to see some snowfall on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the potential for that. So through Thursday evening here, this is our futurecast for snowfall accumulation. This isn't going to be a lot, 1 to 3 inches above about 10,000 feet on some of those high peaks. And in terms of rainfall, it's going to be some pretty decent moisture over the next few days. By Thursday night, we are talking anywhere from a half an inch up to an inch across the high country and a few tenths of an inch here on the Front Range. And boy, do we need that moisture. We are going to see that Wednesday and Thursday. And look at how cool those temperatures get from that cold front, down to 65 for the high on Wednesday. Looking ahead to Thursday, those temperatures will drop to 64. Overnight low temperatures will be dropping into the 40s. Now on Friday, we are going to see that sunshine returning with a 10% chance of rain through the weekend. Temperatures will stay in the 70s for both Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, looks good, Jess. Developing this afternoon, Switzerland has just become the latest Western European country to legalize gay marriage. 64% of voters chose to allow same-sex marriage. Along with that, same-sex couples will now be allowed to adopt children. The law goes into effect of July next year.
Happening right now, the pandemic is causing some people to go further into debt. According to Bankrate, 42% of consumers with credit card debt have added to that amount that they owe since the start of the pandemic. But the group is split on whether or not the pandemic is to blame. 47% say it is because of COVID. The other 53% cited other reasons. Millennials were most likely to say the virus was the reason their debt surged. The pandemic was good for those in the business of golf. The National Golf Foundation says that more than 24.8 million people played a round of golf last year. That's the largest net increase for the game in 17 years. And it's even more popular this year, with the number of rounds played through July up by more than 16% from 2020. The game is growing in some desired demographics, including women, those under 40, and beginner and youth golfers.
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs say that head coach Andy Reid is doing well after leaving yesterday's game in an ambulance. The coach addressed the team as you normally would in a locker room after the game, but did not talk with the media. A source tells ESPN the 63-year-old was treated for dehydration and is expected to be just fine. Well, right now, there's a group of scientists working to turn food waste into medical gear.
And this is durian, a popular fruit in many South Asian countries. Besides the delicious golden center, the rest of the fruit cannot be eaten, resulting in millions of pounds of waste. But researchers have found they can extract cellulose, a chemical compound in the durian husk, and combine it with a substance called glycerol to create hydrogel bandages, which experts say can help wounds heal faster.
It's moist, so they would prevent the wound from drying up.
And it's not just durian. Scientists say soybeans and leftover grains for making beer can also be turned into similar hydrogel bandages.
Coming up all new at 5, the deadline rapidly approaching for Denver city workers to get vaccinated. Tonight, the problem solver is looking at how close city workers are to compliance ahead of Thursday's deadline.
Also new at 5, a Colorado staple is shrinking. We're asking climate experts about the impact warmer temperatures are having in the high country.
This is how we lead. Fox 31 Morning News, bringing you the most live, local breaking news coverage. Breaking news, we're on it.
James Harden.
When it comes to giving up alcohol, there's a brand new study that shows some Coloradans say they would rather give up a portion of their own lives rather than part ways with booze. You heard that right. Let's check in with Fox 31's Kevin Torres, who's been looking into this for a Problem Solvers Health Alert.
Well, this is an absolutely interesting study from alcohol.org. Let's take a closer look at it right now because analysts surveyed 3,700 people and found in our state the average Coloradan would actually give up 3 years of their lives to keep drinking alcohol. The data goes on to show a third of Coloradans would even give up caffeine altogether in order to continue drinking booze, and 30% of those surveyed admit that they ignore studies warning about alcohol-related health risks. Now, this same survey went on to show that about 37% of drinkers believe craft beer is actually healthier than regular commercial beer, despite the higher ABV levels found in many craft beers. While Coloradans would, on average, give about 3 years of their lives to continue drinking, the survey found that in Nevada, folks there would actually give about 5 years of their lives to continue drinking booze. In Denver, I'm Kevin Torres.
Well, United Airlines gets hit with a hefty $1.9 million fine for leaving planes and passengers stuck on the tarmac for long periods of time. The Department of Transportation says from December of 2015 to February of 2021, United let 20 domestic and 5 international flights sit outside of the terminal, not letting passengers deplane, violating Department of Transportation rules. A United spokesman says the 25 flights were out of 8 million flights. It is the largest such fine to hit a U.S. carrier.
All new tonight, a California woman now in custody. This is the woman facing up to 9 years in prison after she's accused of starting the Fawn Fire in the northern part of the state. As William LaJeunesse reports, that fire has already destroyed more than 40 homes, and it is threatening thousands of smaller structures right now.
Authorities arrested a 30-year-old woman accusing her of sparking the Fawn Fire in Northern California. She is facing 9 years in prison after officials say she started the blaze while boiling bear urine to drink.
We have filed felony arson charges against her, not only for arson, but also for committing an arson during the state of emergency.
News of the arrest coming just days after PG&E, California's largest utility company, was charged with involuntary manslaughter after its equipment sparked a fire that killed 4 last year.
One of the primary reasons to charge a corporation criminally is a finding that illegal behavior is widespread, it's serious, it's offensive, and it's so persuasive that the only appropriate action is criminal charges.
The CEO of PG&E says the company denies the charge.
We've accepted CAL FIRE's determination, reached earlier this year, that a tree contacted our electric line and started the Zog fire. We accept that conclusion. But we did not commit a crime.
Meanwhile, firefighters are making progress in battling the Fawn Fire. It started just north of Redding and already destroyed more than 40 homes and forced the evacuation of about 4,000. The massive wildfire now 50% contained, and CAL FIRE reports forward progress of the blaze has stopped. Officials did not say when evacuees will be able to return to their homes. California Governor Gavin Newsom has secured federal emergency funding, freeing up aid and resources for areas impacted by the Fawn Fire. In Los Angeles, William LaJeunesse, Fox News.
Well, thanks so much for joining us for the inaugural edition of the Fox 31 News at 4. We'll be here Monday through Friday from now on.
And the news at 5 starts right now.